Good evening everyone. Hope you all are safe and sound inside your homes. Do get registered for vaccinations if you haven't gotten vaccinated and get it done ASAP. So two key things that one has to master in order to get that perfect or the dream job that you've been eyeing on for a long time are how to write an impressive cover letter and a resume. In this video, I'm going to help you out in step-by-step process of the cover letter creation as well as the resume creation with suitable examples. Hope this video helps and stay until the end of the video. So let me start by going through the meaning of cover letter. What is it and what is its importance? A cover letter is nothing but a one-page document that you send with your job application alongside your CV or your resume. So just before the resume, you are attaching cover letter, and that describes you briefly and summarizes your professional experience and background. A cover letter holds an utmost importance, especially when you are applying for a job which has mass applicants. So an ideal cover letter would be between 250 words to 400 words. So my suggestion to you would be to stick to that and keep it as crisp as possible. Now let me tell you a fun fact. A lot of recruiters do not take much time to read or go through the details of the resumes. All they do is minimum spend 5 to 6 on an average 5 to 6 seconds to just glance through your resume, and that's when they decide if you are an ideal candidate or not. So the cover letter helps grab the reader's attention, and that makes the reader or the hiring manager go through the details of your CV just by going through your cover letter. Not to worry, I will be giving you some tips and some examples on how to create an impressive cover letter and how you can have the advantage of getting shortlisted over other applicants. The very first step is the header, and in the header section you will be mentioning your name, and if you are experienced then you will mention your previous title designation under your name. If you are a fresher, you can skip this. To the right hand side of your name you will be mentioning your email address, contact number, your LinkedIn profile link and your personal website link if you have. So out of these, the most important ones are the contact number and the email ID. Now email ID, my suggestion to you is please use a formal one. Do not keep any fancy informal email IDs, because that doesn't give a very good impression to the hiring managers. An ideal email address would be your name dot your surname @whatever.com. So you can use that format and create an email ID for yourself for all official use. Just below your name and your title, you will be addressing to the hiring manager, whoever is the key person or whoever is responsible for the recruitment, whoever has put out the recruitment post. You are basically mentioning the hiring manager's name. You have to keep in mind that personalization is very important. Do not make it generic. Whenever you are writing a cover letter or a resume, you want to be as specific as possible, specific to the company, specific to the people of the company, so that it gives a personal touch and makes the hiring managers think and know that you are all in for applying in this job, in this company. Let's get back to the header. So you are going to address to. Here I have just mentioned the hiring manager's name to Ken Adams, Human Resources Manager, his title. Now the name and title, if you are unaware, in my previous video I mentioned how to get the names of the key people of recruitment team or the hiring manager. You can use those ways and try to find out the name and the title. So now you've mentioned the hiring manager's name, his title and the company name and company address. Just below the company address you're going to put the date, that is the current date, whichever date you're sending the resume and the cover letter out. So the next step is the greeting, that is the salutation. So again, personalization here as well. Whoever you are writing it to, do not use dear sir or dear madam. Instead, use the name. For example, in this case, it would be dear Mr. Ken Adams. Step 3, and the most important part of your cover letter, which is the introductory or the opening statement. So you need to write an attention grabbing introductory statement. You want to do that because if the hiring manager is going through your cover letter, this is the first thing that he will go through and read, and in order to grab his attention and keep his mind and focus onto reading the rest of your cover letter as well as your resume, you want to get this part right. So I will be starting by giving you an example of an average introductory statement or an opening statement that may be used by a lot of people, and a second example on to how you can make it better. So example 1. Hi, my name is Menaka and I am looking to apply for a sales position in your XYZ Limited company. I have worked as a sales manager in ABC Company Limited for about 5 years, and I think I will prove to be the right fit for this position. So this is example 1. Now there's technically nothing wrong in this, but the key points that are missing is that it isn't interesting, number 1, to read, and number 2, it doesn't stand out, number 3, every third person would write such an introductory line or an opening statement. It is more common or it is more generic. So this will not make your cover letter stand out to the hiring manager. How can you make this better? Here is the following example. Hi, my name is Menaka. I would like to help XYZ Limited company to hit and exceed their sales goals as a sales manager. I have worked in ABC Company Limited as a sales rep for about 5 years, and during my tenure there, I have managed to generate on an average the revenue of about INR 4 lakh every single month, beating my monthly sales targets by 20 to 30%. So I believe that my industry experience and my excellence in sales will make me the right fit for this job. Now this was the example given keeping in mind the working professionals. If you are a fresher, then you can use this following example. Hi, my name is Menaka, and I'd like to help the sales team of XYZ Limited company hit and exceed their sales goals through my contribution as a sales associate. Although I do not have prior work experience to prove my words, but I did manage to achieve all my allotted targets to me during my internship, beating the other interns in the same batch, which made me receive a letter of appreciation and a recommendation letter from the company. I believe that my hard work and my passion for sales will make me the right fit or the right candidate for this job. So through these examples, you must have figured it out. What we do is not just introduce ourselves and give a brief background about our previous work experience or internship experience, but we also include 2-3 of our top achievements in the first introductory paragraph itself, so that it grabs the reader's attention and it makes them hook on to reading the rest of your cover letter. So do follow this. Next step is the body of the cover letter. This is the second most important part after your introductory paragraph, because basically here you are summarizing your entire job experience, your skill sets, everything that you have, and putting it in a brief para. So in this particular section, you want to mention your specific experience. Of course, it has to be in relevance to the job position that you are applying for, and you have to highlight all the different skill sets that you possess and will be helpful for this job position. You have to ensure that in this particular section, whatever you are mentioning, it has to be in alignment with the requirements that are given in the job description or are mentioned in the job post by the recruiter. We will also follow an example for this to understand it better. Let's assume that the company has put out a job post for a sales manager, and it has given 3 top requirements for an ideal candidate. Number 1, He or she should be able to do the customer acquisition and close sales through references. Number 2, he or she has to possess great convincing skills. And number 3, he or she has to have strong communication skills. So how to highlight your experience and your skills in relevance to these 3 requirements given by the company? Here is the example. In my previous company as a sales manager, I have entirely handled the customer acquisition and managed to amplify my sales. Over the years, I have built a lot of strong connections and network into the market, which has helped me to close sales through referrals largely, and that has helped me in achieving and overachieving my sales targets every month. I also have great convincing abilities because I managed to convert 50% of the customers that I get in touch through 100 cold calls that I do per day. I'm fluent in 4 languages. That makes me someone with very strong communication skills who is able to communicate with the customers in whatever language that they are comfortable in. So the example that I just gave was for working professionals. If you are a fresher, you can follow this particular example. As I'm looking for that ideal job to kickstart my career in sales, I am simultaneously working on building my professional brand and also building strong network and connections in the market that will help me get sales through referrals in future, which will contribute in my sales career growth. This will also enable me to handle customer acquisition entirely and do my own sales. I can also say that I have great convincing skills as I have proven in my last internship by achieving all allotted targets to me and being the highest seller in my batch. I am also fluent in 4 languages. That makes me a candidate with strong communication skills and having the ability to talk to the customers in whatever language they are comfortable. So through these examples, you must have figured out that we have covered all 3 requirements, all 3 points that were mentioned by the company or the hiring manager through our experience and by aligning them with the company's expectations. So the customer acquisition part, sales through referrals, convincing skills and communication skills, all 3 points were covered in our both the examples for the working professionals as well as for the freshers. So you can use either of the examples and then modify and make the body however you wish to, because everybody's experience would be different, skill sets would be different, and the positions that you are applying for would also be different, so you can modify it accordingly. So the very last step is to wrap up the cover letter. Now you must be thinking that okay, I'm done with the introductory part, I'm done with the body of the cover, and it's time to just say tata bye bye and close it off. No, you're still yet to hit that sweet final spot before you close your cover letter. So in this step, you will have to take that tiny bit of an effort to research about the company and also find out about the company's USP so you can talk about it in your closing statement. Again, here we are using the key to personalization. We are being specific to the company so that the company's hiring manager knows that you have put certain amount of efforts and you are really all in for it. It also saves you from the impression of being somebody who has taken copies of these cover letters and sent across to 20 or 30 companies hoping to get one shortlisting or one interview call from somewhere. So you're saving yourself from having that impression, and yes, this helps and this would leave a lasting impression on the hiring manager's mind while ending your cover letter. So do follow this. Here is the example of how you can end or how your closing statement can be. I have heard a lot about the goodwill of your company, and I really admire the unique approach that you take towards your customers, which is very different from your competitors. And that makes me want to be a part of such a brand where I can contribute to its sales processes and the customer service. And I'm sure I'll prove to be the great value addition to the team. So the example that I gave was for service-based company where you're talking about its approach towards customers and its customer service. If it is a product-based company, then you can use the following example. I have personally used XYZ Company Limited smartphone, and I must say that it has the most innovative technology that I have ever used in any of the device. So these particular features, mention the features to make it even better. These particular features have been the game changers for this device, and I would be more than honored to be a part of such a brand and to be this small part and put my little efforts towards such tech and innovation. So here what you're doing is you're not being generic about things, and you're being super specific about the company and its product and its approach, its features, that you are giving an impression to the hiring manager that you are a very, very interested candidate and you have chosen the company and not just send out the resume blindly without having any objective in mind, and that would make the hiring manager interested in your candidature. Last step is to wrap up the cover letter with a call to action. So in this step, you want to first thank the hiring manager for taking out time and looking into your application. And second, you don't just want to say goodbye and end it. You want to leave that last sentence with an indication to the hiring manager that you would be expecting some sort of an action, either a call or an email, so that you can discuss further about the opportunity. The example for this can be, lastly, I would like to thank you for taking out time and looking into my application. I'm sure you wouldn't be disappointed if you shortlist my candidature. I positively expect and I hope that I receive a call or an email in order to discuss further about this great opportunity. This will give a clear indication to the hiring manager that you are waiting for their call, and probably if they like your candidature, they should get in touch with you ASAP. So after the final statement with call to action, you end it with end salutation. That is thanking you, best regard, whatever you want to use. Before you send out the cover letter and the resume to the respective company, so you want to proofread it. Either use Grammarly to check any mistakes in the cover letter and the resume, or get it reviewed from a friend. So this was your cover letter, the step-by-step process to create an impressive cover letter. I hope my points were useful to you, and you can use the examples that I've given, and also pause on the sample and see how the sample is written, and you can probably take the same sample and create one for yourself.